All right, guys, so you've probably seen a few battles already online, the S23 Ultra versus the all-new iPhone 15 Pro Max. But have you seen it at nighttime? Video, photos, battle royale. Let's get down to it. So here's the deal. We're not going to be talking about specs on these phones. We're going to show you how they perform. There's been plenty of videos talking about the specs on both of these devices. So let's get down to talking about the front-facing camera. Both are 12 megapixel. We're going to start with the iPhone 15 Pro Max first with video 4K 25 because Zacky, you're shooting 4K 25, right?
Yep.
Yes, indeed. We're going to do 4K 25 here. Now, I could shoot in log. I could shoot in ProRes. And then maybe I'll do a little bit of that as well so you can see a little bit of grading that as Zacky does on this. But always clean the camera with your shirt. Little trick there for you. I'm recording right now. You're hearing the audio out of the phone and the video quality. Looking pretty good. Is it better than the 14 Pro Max? I'm gonna say it's less HDR-y. I think they've toned that down a little bit. Looks a bit more natural. And I'm actually enjoying this. Zacky, let's walk around so we get some lights, we get some flares coming into play. Because here's the thing with the iPhones, right? Look at that right there. The flares. On the rear cameras, they're a little bit more severe than the front-facing camera, but there's a little bit of flare there. Call it the J.J. Abrams effect, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Now we're here, now we're gonna test out this in log. The Samsung can't do log, this can, so let's see how that looks right now. Now we're shooting in ProRes LOG, 4K 25p. This is a massive file. Zacky's gonna hate me for editing this because he doesn't use a Mac right now. He's currently using a PC to edit this. I'm sorry, Zacky, but ProRes is gonna tax your Premiere. But it's okay, you can grade it. You can show the audience how good it looks graded, a little bit better dynamic range. We're gonna see how it looks. It's not so over sharpened as it is straight out of camera. But let us know in the comment section below what you guys think of this. Front-facing camera, ProRes LOG, 4K 25p. I'm not finding 4K 25p here, but I'm finding 4K 30. I'm using the Pro Video mode. That should be equivalent to what Apple's producing on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Looking at the image on the display right now, it's a little bit more contrasty, a little bit more punchy. The skin tone's a bit more muted on this. It could be the Pro mode of this, who knows? But anyway, you're getting a sense of what it looks like and how the mics pick up as well. I'm liking the fact that the Samsung actually has audio levels here on the front facing in the Pro mode. I like that, I appreciate that. Apple doesn't give us that. You can get that in a third-party app, of course, but you're not getting it out of the iPhone. Let's talk about flaring real quick. There's some flaring happening right there, a little bit more severe than the iPhone based on what I'm seeing on the display, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. By the way, there's no log out of the native app on the Samsung, so we're not gonna shoot a log, but you're getting what 4K 30 looks like right now. So next we're gonna test the front-facing camera for selfies, for photos. Now, Apple's touting, I think, 24 megapixels as the default versus 12. Not too sure if that's with the front-facing camera or not. I know it's for the rear, but nonetheless, you guys let us know in the comments which one you prefer. We're going for the Samsung right now. Got a little bit of light coming from this food stall right here. See, I raise my hand, it snaps. That's the one thing I like about Samsung. The hand thing, awesome. Apple doesn't have that, Samsung does. But if you're Italian like me and you wave your hands a lot, it's gonna just start taking photos and all of a sudden there's a lot of photos being taken. But nonetheless, let me know what you guys think. Based on what I'm seeing out of the display right now, a little bit more contrasty, a little bit more less in the shadows, but this thing keeps taking photos. I really gotta turn off this hand gesture or I gotta stop talking with my hand because now I can talk and I'm not gonna get photos taken. Anyway, let's try the iPhone right now. So now we've got this RAW 12 mode, but you don't get RAW Max mode on this. Apple's settings on this are a little bit different. There's a different language you're gonna have to learn with the iPhone 15 Pro Max in terms of its photography. But looking at the display and the colors, I'm preferring the iPhone hands down. And I can talk with my hands and it's not activating. That's a good thing. It's meant for Italians like me. Hey, I want to talk like this, doesn't activate. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Samsung versus iPhone. Based on what I'm seeing on the displays, I'm gonna go for iPhone on this for both video and for photos with the front-facing camera. Plus, you have a few more options in terms of frame rates on this as well for videos, so I think iPhone is gonna take the win. Anyway, let's test the rear cameras right now. So this is using the main camera out of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. We're doing it at 4K 25p. And this is gonna match what Zacky's shooting on right now currently with the video. So you guys are gonna see what it looks like. Now we're gonna walk into lights like this. There's some food stalls behind me. Walk around, see what the flares are like. Are you gonna see flares? Is it distracting? I can't tell because the camera's flipped over. But I'm guessing, based on my testing of the phone thus far, this video looks absolutely phenomenal. Apple has definitely upgraded these cameras. Is it better than the 14 Pro Max? Slightly better. But there's always going to be an evolutionary upgrade, not a revolutionary upgrade. The phones are already so good as it is right now, but this is absolutely fantastic. So just to flex some phone muscles on this one, we're in action mode, 2.8K, ProRes LOG. That's right, better stabilization as I'm walking and talking in ProRes LOG in action mode. Tell me another phone that has this native out of it. I'm waiting and I'm listening for you guys to respond in the comments. There isn't any because Apple's dominating in the space. Anyway, let's see what it looks like as I'm walking and I'm talking here. The stabilization should be on point. It's always gonna say it needs more light required, but there's plenty of light here. Let me know what you guys think. How is this action mode in ProRes LOG? Damn, that's good. That's a big jump up from last year. I'm actually liking the log, to be honest with you. And by the way, if you're using Final Cut, if you've updated Final Cut already, you're going to see that there is an Apple LUT already built in when you go into the log profile of it. So you can already just grade it as it is, but a little bit of a tip or trick for you guys, but that's what we have here with action mode. Dude, looks so good. It really looks good. You know one thing I like about the log? It doesn't have that over sharpening. It's more natural, and it's designed based on the color profile to match if you're going to be using this as a secondary camera to your cinema cameras or any, let's say, Sony, Nikon, Canon, you're going to be shooting in log, you can color grade and match pretty much awesome on this. It looks good. Now, looking at this, it is lower light, there's some noise creeping in, there is definitely some grain on this. I may need to get out of action mode to show you what it looks like without that. We'll do that right now. Okay, now we're doing 4K 25p in log on the rear cameras because we can. Oh, I've got that light flashing in. Look at that light hitting my face. You see that, Zacky? You see that? Look at that, just finding the light, finding the light, finding the light, finding the light. Oh, snap. Now if I go behind me, do we see that flare? Do you guys see that flare right there? Oh, you want to know why there's a light there? It's actually projecting Manchurian lamb hot pot. I'm now a Manchurian lamb hot pot. How about that? Anyway, guys, that's what it looks like in ProRes on the back of it. All right, now we're testing the ultra wide camera, 4K 25p on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, obviously the stabilization may not be as good as the main camera, but it's still stabilized, it's still pretty good. Maybe a little bit of warping because we're super ultra wide as I'm walking around here and I'm doing this, but yeah, not too bad at all. You want to go ultra wide for your videos to get that, you know, that effect, you got it right here. Because we don't have 25p on this camera, it seems, for whatever reason, but we have 24 and 30. I'm gonna shoot in 30 here. We're using the main camera for video in Pro Video mode because I figured that is the most equivalent to what Apple's offering in the 15 Pro Max. Let me know what you guys think. Zacky, let's back up a little bit to make this more of a fair, comparison. I'm gonna get more to the light so people can actually see what I look like in the light versus going into a darker area and saying, hey, you guys didn't test that correctly. You're not being honest with it. Because I hear you, I know there's some diehard Samsung fans out there. I get you, I hear you, I understand you. I'm trying to make this as fair as possible. I have no skin in the game on this. Whoever is the winner is the winner. Because when we tested the S23 Ultra earlier this year against the 14 Pro Max, the S23 Ultra came out ahead when it came to video over the 14 Pro Max. Will that be the case with the 15 Pro Max? We're gonna find out very, very soon. Anyway, this is what it looks like. I've been talking to you, I've been chatting with you. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So now we're gonna take a picture of this sort of iconic wall that's in Chinatown here, like an old Singapore, a bit of a kampong vibe to it. And we're gonna test the iPhone 15 Pro Max first, raw max mode. I have to say, I prefer the colors out of the 15 Pro Max this year versus the 14 Pro Max. The 14 Pro Max was much more warmer and a little bit, yeah, as I mentioned, too HDR, but also good. This is tough. Looking at both of these here, it's really, I would say that you're seeing the HDR kick in on the Samsung a bit more, and as a result, it exposes correctly, but it's missing that character. And what I mean by character is sometimes when you're taking a photo, it doesn't have to be perfectly exposed. Not all the shadows have to be exposed perfectly, all the highlights have to be exposed perfectly. Sometimes a little underexposure, sometimes a little bit more contrast, sometimes these inaccuracies make an image look more interesting and special than everything's being exposed correctly. The iPhone is handling this scenery better, in my personal opinion, than the Samsung. Now, you may disagree with me when you see the images on the display. Some might prefer how Samsung renders it, but in my personal taste, I prefer how Apple's doing it this time. Now, last time with the 14 Pro Max, I preferred the Samsung. So again, it all varies on which phone you're using, but Apple has improved this, and it shows in this scenario as well. So now we're gonna test some low light in a dark alley. Now the reason we have a light on me now is because Zacky's using the Zune Crane 4, which has a light built in on it. So, but when we're doing the test, the light will be off, right, Zacky?
Yes.
All right, before we do our test though, here's a quick message from our sponsor.
This video is brought to you by MSI. Meet the Summit E16 Flip, featuring the latest 12th Gen Intel Core i7 processor, RTX 30 series graphics, and a 16-inch Quad HD Plus touchscreen panel with a 360-degree hinge. It lets you unleash maximum productivity with up to 11 hours of battery life at just 2 kilograms. The Summit E16 Flip offers unprecedented performance and functionality, allowing you to work and play anywhere, anytime.
Hi, how are ya? Can I get your silhouette shot? So looking at both of these images, I wanted to test something very interesting here. A, backlight against the subject, and the gentleman was very kind enough to sit there for me, to see the flaring from the iPhone, because obviously they said there's a new coating on the lenses because the previous iPhones just flared. It's like they hired J.J. Abrams to just add flare in every photo, and see how it compared against the Samsung. Looking at these images here, now the Samsung does a very good job in terms of bringing up the shadows a bit more to see more detail on the gentleman's shirt. He's got a plaid shirt. The iPhone, not so much, but what the iPhone does on this, it exposes correctly, and the flare isn't as severe as what I would previously see on the 14 Pro Max and the 13, etc., etc., etc. It's more well controlled, so much so, it's even more well controlled than the Samsung S23 Ultra. So I got to give Apple some credit there. They've improved the flaring. Now, we haven't tested all of it yet, but so far J.J. Abrams isn't, or at least hasn't been hired to, do flaring on the 15 Pro Max as of my test thus far. This is the stupidest test of all time. Oh, shit. Okay. Now this is the most mundane shot I think out of the entire video, but go with me on this. I wanted to see what it'd be like in low light in terms of how each phone handles exposing for these dark subjects. Full of the table, red chairs. Guys, like I said, it ain't art. Looking at both of these, the Samsung really exposes a lot. However, it's not natural. The iPhone does a tremendous job of exposing, not too much, but realistic. But the detail, especially in the red chairs and the can, is evident. Very impressive, Apple. Some steps up in the 15 Pro Max. Honestly, I wasn't expecting this. I thought the Samsung would walk away with this one 5 times over because it does very well in low light, but it does a very good job. Anyway, now it's my duty to take a nighttime shot of Zacky, as we normally do here, because Zacky needs a lot of shots for Tinder. He's recently single, helping him out. Oh, wow, look at that. Chin down a little bit, bringing out the 15 Pro Max now. Oh, hello. Oh, man. When you guys see these two images of Zacky, he's looking very handsome, but the detail on the 15 Pro Max trumps the Samsung. Very much so. There's a lot of noise reduction happening in the Samsung. Apple's not doing it as much, and the color correction, the exposure for low light is really, really impressive. Okay, let's move on, Zacky. More tests to do. Fantastic. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, one of the features on that portrait of Tony, who was very kind enough to allow us to take his photo, is with the iPhone, you no longer have to go into portrait mode. You can just go into photo mode. Once it detects a face, human face or an animal, it will actually give you the option in the edit to go back into portrait mode. And looking at this real quick here, I gotta say, captures the hair on his beard very well. Nice fall off. Good definition on his face. The color of her shirt's accurate, the hat's accurate, the white balance is accurate. I'm very, very happy on that. Now, looking at the Samsung, it's washed out. Portrait mode is not bad, to be honest with you. The portrait mode on the Samsung is pretty good. We've talked about this. Sometimes it's warmer and sometimes it's cooler. In this case, the skin tones are much more accurate out of the 15 Pro Max and the color of her shirt versus the Samsung S23 Ultra. And the winner of this is the Apple 15 Pro Max. Now, talking about telephoto for a second, I know Apple has a new system inside their iPhone 15 Pro Max for telephoto. And comparing against the Samsung, Samsung has a really good telephoto lens. And just shooting this bird real quick here, I think you can see in the images, Samsung still takes it when it comes to the telephoto. Apple's improved, definitely, And it goes up to 5 times optically, I believe what it is, and you go 10 times plus digitally. But Samsung has that 10 times, I believe it's optically inside of this, and it just looks so much better. So yeah, gotta give it to Samsung on that. I do wanna preface this video by saying this, is that, look, the S23 Ultra's been out for almost 8 months now, 9 months. So we're looking at older technology versus the iPhone 15 Pro Max. And like we had with the battle with the S23 Ultra versus the 14 Pro Max, you know what I mean? There is going to be a difference in terms of the technology. So this is not to say the S23 Ultra is a bad phone, it's not. It's been one of the best phones in terms of content creation, video, and photography for the entire year. It's just that the iPhone 15 Pro Max with the newer technology, the newer algorithms, what they're doing, it's just besting the S23 Ultra in many ways right now. So for you Samsung fans out there, don't get upset. You got an S24 coming very, very soon in a few months, and it'll probably be better than the 15 Pro Max in many ways. It's an never-ending cycle, but that's just the beauty of these tests, and that's what we have fun with it. But with that, guys, me and Zacky want to tell you one thing, is that this is both of our last videos for Geek Culture. It's been a pleasure to be part of the team for the past year and a half. You've been with them for what? Almost?
Gonna be 5 years.
5 years.
I'll say 4.5 for now. Yeah.
5 years, about a year and a half for me. And I'm still continuing on my own channel. You can check me out there at Bobby Tonelli. And you might see Zacky once in a while there as well, coming up on board. Never know. Yeah, never know, never know. And but you know what we want you guys to do is also subscribe to Geek Culture. Follow them. There's a great team of people there. They're really putting out a lot of great content as of late, and just give them support. We will be supporting as well. And you never know. You may see us pop on a video here too. But with that, this will be our last video as more consistent creators here on the channel. We want to thank you guys for the support. Thank you for the love. We greatly appreciate it. Any final words, Zacky?
Yeah, just like to thank the rest of the crew, man. We've worked hard and we keep on working hard.
Yeah.
All the best to you guys, and definitely more content coming your way, guys.
That's right. Definitely, for sure. Take care, guys. Be safe.
Yeah.
Bye.
Adios. Woo!